All right, boys. UFC 298 just happened, and I'm just gonna basically break down what happened throughout the entire fight card. So to start with the early prelims, we had Adriana Lee versus Miranda Maverick. To be honest, this was just a shit fight. It was classic like women's MMA, but they're both like low level, like slow. Adriana Lee kind of went for a choke at the end, but it definitely wasn't in. It just kind of looked like it would have been in. It was just boring. Wasn't really that great. And Miranda Maverick probably, I don't even think she deserves to be ranked, and she probably won't be ranked for long. Like she'll probably get clowned on soon. Moving up the card, it was Oban Elliott versus Val Woodburn. To be honest, Val Woodburn did a lot better than I thought. I actually thought Val probably was going to win just by knockout because of how big he is. But Oban actually showcased that the Welsh are they're pretty hard workers. Like this guy grinded out Val really well, and Val was able to last a lot longer than I thought. Oban thought he rocked Val. I don't think Val was rocked at all. I think Val was probably he probably just got hit and was like, "Oh, that was a good hit," and then he ran in, dropping Oban. And then Oban like fell a few times. I don't think they were knockdowns, but I think at one point Oban was rocked. I think Oban has potential. He just needs more time to cook. Does it show the? Oh, it does show strikes actually. Yeah, I mean, he just like did more, to be honest. Like he just did more. It was a really good showcase. Moving up, it was Danny Barlow against Josh Quinlan. I thought Josh Quinlan was gonna lose like as soon as I heard of this fight. I didn't even know who Danny Barlow was. I just knew Josh sucks cock. When I saw his last fight, he's just shit. Like he has one combo and doesn't like move at all, and he kind of just he got outstruck. It took Danny a little bit of time to cook, but I liked watching this fight actually. I thought it was probably the most entertaining fight up until the main card. It was just a good fight to watch. Like you can see the significant strikes doubled, total strikes doubled, everything like that. But I mean, it was. I think both had their moments. I think Josh definitely landed one or two good shots, but I think Josh is gonna get cut after his next loss, or just cut him now. Like he's just shit. He has one combo, and that's pretty much it. And it's just a 1-2. Like anyone can do that. Now moving on to the prelims, we have that name, which I'm not gonna say, against Bredson Ribeiro. Actually thought Bredson was gonna win. I thought he was tough. I thought he was gonna fraud check Zhang, because Zhang was his record just it's good, but it's against a bunch of bums. Like no one's a name, you know. So everything's just like mid on his record, but he did well. Bretson Ribeiro just kind of got chin checked. It's unfortunate, you know. He's not gonna bounce back for a while. But Ribeiro's not bad. I just think he got too like his head seemed out of the game, and then Zhang just like fucked him up coming in. Because Bretson just kind of he was mixing up things, and then he just kind of did the same thing 5 times, which you just can't do in any like fight ever unless it's women's MMA. But in light heavyweight especially, I thought this was actually middleweight. These guys didn't seem that big personally. Um but especially in fucking light heavyweight, like you can't just do the same combo over and over and over again and expect a different result. Like everyone in light heavyweight is gonna catch you doing something stupid. Like I mean, I guess the perfect way to describe it is that Johnny Walker will never yeah, probably never crack the top 5, only because he gets caught doing the same things too much and he just gets checked on it. And we saw that with the Ankalaev's fight. Moving up, Rinya versus Carlos Vera. I actually thought Carlos Vera had a good opportunity to win this fight. Um, and he came close with a heel hook in the beginning. However, Rinya is good. He pushed a good pace. Apparently, he had a broken, I think it was arm or something like that. Or he broke something, I think, in the fight. But Rinya's tough. He's a good Japan man, so he will definitely rise up in the ranks, I think. Bantamweight is stacked, but I think there's a few openings where, given time, he could become a problem in bantamweight. Like he could be the next like Tatsuro Taira. He could be the next like Tatsuro Taira. I think he's a little better, and I think he might like be almost at the same level. And Carlos Vera lasted longer than I thought, but just like rolling around doesn't do anything at all. Like he was just basically hoping that Renya would fumble the bag doing something. But Renya showed some high level fight IQ, and I think this was just a high level grappling match, to be honest. However, Renya's striking is terrible, and I think he needs to go to like a Muay Thai gym or something. Like the striking is god awful, but he's really smart, so I think he'll do really, really well. You know, he'll definitely keep that zero for a while. Moving up, we have Marcos versus Junior Taffa. Junior Taffa stepped on 1 day's notice. I think that's something to like respect a man for. Not the greatest record. His brother's Justin Taffa. Um, I when this fight was coming to fruition, I thought Justin was going to win. And then when I heard Junior stepping up in short notice, I kind of lent more on the Marcos side, only because it's like 1 day short notice. Like, I'm sure Junior knew that Justin was on the edge of like, well, maybe I'll go in, my arm's not doing too well, you might have to step in for me. But Justin left for fucking an injury, and then Junior stepped up on short notice. Respectable brotherly love. I don't think his stock goes down either, but that 5-2 record looks fucking terrible. He got knocked down. It wasn't like a super big KO, so to be honest, I think Junior could probably fight within 2 or 3 months. No problem. His leg did get fucked up though. Like Marcos, last time I saw Marcos was against Derek Lewis. And you can't really do much when a Derek Lewis runs at you in flying knees, and you get dropped. It's not like, wow, can't believe you didn't take that shot. A flying knee from Derek Lewis could probably knock out an actual gorilla. So, it is what it is. Marcos gets it done. Round two, really close round one. He did bang up Junior in the first round pretty bad, but, you know, it was a good fight. It wasn't like I wasn't upset with the heavyweight bout, and Junior looked better than I thought he would, even though he's coming off the couch basically. So good fight, good for Marcos. I wouldn't give him anything too tough. I don't think Marcos is going to be like a big name. I just think he's going to be a good ranking gatekeeper. You know. All right, moving up, we have Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Lemos. I thought my pick was Amanda Lemos just because I saw Mackenzie Dern get smoked by Andrade. And yeah, Mackenzie Dern was winning that fight, but if you get knocked down by Jessica Andrade, I think you just have no chin at all. But I was leaning for Amanda Lemos to win by decision. She did, however, in the fight, I think Mackenzie Dern actually won. I think this was not like a brutal robbery or anything, but I think this fight was definitely like I think it was a wrong decision, Like I think it was just a like I don't even know, like even looking at the numbers, like okay, I guess significant strikes Amanda landed more. The knockdown was big. I think it was a knockdown or it was a big wobble. I can't remember. Um oh no, yeah, right. She got knocked down and was just getting fucking wailed on. I'm surprised the fight didn't get stopped. Like that was crazy. So she earned the win because she kind of got robbed of that TKO win. But if you're counting every round, I actually do think Amanda lost this fight. I think Mackenzie Dern should have won, but is what it is. Also, Mackenzie Dern's got a really nice ass. Anyways, moving up, we had Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. I will proudly say that I chose Roman Kopylov. He was looking really, really good. He just made the one mistake when he got pulled back to not like tuck his chin, and that cost him the submission. I thought Fluffy sucked. I'll be honest. I think everyone he's ever fought went into his submissions or went into his grappling. Like no one really fought back on his grappling from what I saw against the names that I can't remember, just because they're like, you know, not normal names, or I guess not like usual names that I'm used to saying. But yeah, I didn't think Fluffy was that good, but he's fun to watch as a grappler, you know? He's almost like he's like if you took Colby's confidence and mixed it in with Charles' skills, but like it met a middle ground. So he's not as crazy as Colby, and he's not as what's it called? Skilled as Charles Oliveira, but he's definitely fun to watch. Like I remember he flipped off Roman Kopylov after getting like hit by a big body kick and then I believe a right hand, and he just kind of flipped him off and laughed at him, sticking his tongue out and shit. And then when he had that weird naked, he was just like sitting there, fucking what's it called? He had his tongue out, just looking at the camera, just like nodding his head. Like it's pretty fun to watch, you know. He's a good fighter, you know. It sucks for Roman Kopylov, but I think Roman Kopylov can still do great. His wrestling takedown defense is actually a lot better than I thought. I just think he has this style where he always thinks it's a kickboxing match until he gets taken down or like single legged, and then his brain switches to like wrestling. I think he needs to find more of a style for MMA where it's like I'm aware of a takedown and also of a striking war, you know? And Roman Kopylov was definitely getting caught by Anthony, but I think Roman's got a good chin. And um his MMA defense against grappling is really, really well done. So I think he'll do really well against anyone in the lower rankings of middleweight, probably. Like, I think he would probably do really well against someone like Amavov or Delidze for sure, because Delidze is just retarded. Um, but yeah, I think he'll do well, to be honest. But yeah, good fight. It was a great fight. Okay, I forgot about this fight. So now we're moving up to Marab and Henry. Henry did a lot better than I thought. I think a lot of people thought this was just gonna. Wow, the striking numbers are crazy. Was it really? Damn. Henry did say he was gonna retire after this fight. He didn't get a retirement speech at all. So I don't know if he actually retired. He should. He definitely should. He definitely looked his age after round one. But round one he did really, really well, and I think unanimously, Henry definitely won that round. Like no question. He rocked Marab pretty bad, which makes me think that O'Malley might actually do better against Marab than a lot of people think. Um, but you know, Marab made it boring in round two, just hugging literally the whole round. And then Henry got pushed against the cage. Henry's wrestling is like A plus, maybe S tier, right? Obviously, gold medalist, whatever. But the issue is that in MMA, it's very different when someone has you against the cage and can just use the cage as leverage for other shit. You know? Like when you're hugging against the cage, someone can just like drag your ass to the ground. It's not like you need to go for a fancy trip or anything in the middle of the octagon, which I think Marab did once or twice. But Marab just has the style in MMA that wins. Like that's kind of just what it is. But he is chinny. He is a little chinny. He got rocked a few times by a 37-year-old man. You know, these strikes are kind of crazy. I didn't think it was that like 200. That's crazy. I don't remember that many strikes being landed. But all right, it is what it is. Moving up, Jeff Neal, Ian Gary. Ooh, the controversial one, my favorite. I'll be honest. I think Jeff Neal won. You know, I just think he won. I think he edged it by a bit. I know people were complaining that Jeff Neal wasn't doing much. However, Jeff Neal looked fresh in terms of not being slow and stuff like that, but I think he was just thinking too much of like what Ian's gonna do. But it made it look bad because Ian was waiting for Jeff to do something and Jeff just didn't do anything, you know? Or it's not that he didn't do anything. And I know total strikes are here. This felt a lot less like it didn't feel like it mattered. In round one, I think Ian Gary got caught. It wasn't like he was rocked. I think he might have got wobbled a little bit. And I think Jeff was pushing the pace, and he held him against the cage for like 3 minutes or some shit. So yeah, he didn't do much, but like you gotta factor in control time somehow. You know what I mean? So I think Jeff won round one, and then round two, Jeff Jeff hit Ian a few times. Ian hit Jeff a few times. Jeff's style is one of those styles like Bobby's where his hands are low all the time until he's stricken, and that's when his hand catches the strike. But to the judges, it probably looks bad. Like it probably looks like Jeff is getting hit or rocked or fucking, head snap backed by these hits. But realistically, he's just got his guard up, but he snaps his guard really fast, you know? So I think it looked bad for the judges. One judge scored it for Jeff, and I think that was the only right one. 29-28 I think was fair. Ian for sure won round three, just out striking in the cage for I think it was a minute, didn't really matter. But in round two, I just think Jeff making Ian Gary's mouth bleed, I think is also a factor because that's like damage, that's significant damage. And I know, Jeff Neal, kind of hard to see if he's damaged for certain reasons, but he didn't really show that he got hit by like anything, or anything affected him. Where Ian Gary definitely looked like something was hurting him. So kind of sucks to see, is what it is. I thought Jeff was gonna win. I still think he should have won, but I thought he was gonna win by finish, and I think Jeff Neal was just slow that night. I don't know. It was just weird. Robert Whitaker against Paulo Costa. This was an interesting fight. I would have bet $1,000 that this fight didn't go the distance, and it did, which was crazy. The end of round one, 100% goes to Paulo Costa, like without a doubt. And I know it was like kind of even, but Robert was starting to bleed a little bit on his nose, and then he also got wobbled really bad in the final 20 seconds. Like, if that fight would have lasted another 5-10 seconds, I think Robert probably would have got knocked out. Round two was very, very close. I think personally Paulo edged it just a little bit, but I'm not upset. This wasn't a robbery. I think it's fair to give it to Robert. I think it's if they would have given it to Paulo, I wouldn't have been like jaw dropped. But if they would have given it to Whitaker, it is what it is. I don't know, like by strikes, he definitely outlanded like totally, but I think in every round he also was just slightly ahead. I think round two was the closest. I would have given it to round two just because it looked like Robert was getting. It looked like Paulo was getting more of a reaction from his strikes. Like it just looked like Paulo was doing slightly better in my opinion. Also, like pushing the pace, like everything like that. I feel like pushing the pace just isn't being counted for whatever like this year. I don't know, it's weird. Pressure just seems to not matter unless it's Dricus Duplessis. It's weird. Um I just don't want to look at this. I'll be honest, I really don't want to look at this. I thought Volk was gonna win. I thought he was gonna knock him out, and he was doing good in round one, started doing okay in round two, and Ilya just had a perfect right hand. Um, Ilya couldn't put out Josh Emmett, but he puts out one of the greatest of all time. Sometimes it just is what it is. So Volk he needs to take time off. He cannot come back within 4 months. He needs to take like 8 to 12 months off minimum to recover his shin. It is cracked. And I know some people are like, what are you doing coming back 3 months, whatever? Or, yeah, I think it was 3 months. It might have been 2 months. But I think it makes sense. It wasn't his chin that was cracked that day. He just got wobbled on the head, and then, yeah, he got beaten down by Islam. Is what it is. But it's Volk. He likes to push greatest of all time. And he tried his best, but statistics were right, apparently. MMA math works sometimes. And it sucks, because I thought Alex was going to be the one to really fraud check Ilya. But sometimes it just, it is what it is. Ilya, I don't think Ilya will become the next GOAT or like fucking, he won't get near Alex in terms of title defenses. Like, I think he might get 3 if that. Um, I think this is definitely one of those Ilya just beats Volk styles. Because I think where Volk was having the biggest problem is that in order for Volk to really capitalize, he needs to see you open up, you know? And I do think Volk was getting damage with those low kicks, but I think the issue is that Ilya just never really he never let his hands down. He never like let Volk even close to his chin. You know what I mean? It was really, really hard for Volk to like get any strikes to the head. And I guarantee most of these strikes are going to be towards the body. But it really sucks to see it. If you haven't seen it, I recommend never watching it because it is it's literally what like watching a fucking family member die, basically. And the old man Volk memes, you know. It sucks so much. But I guess we're just in that new age of MMA where fucking these fighters who just never get a loss, never get fraud checked all the way until they get the belt. You know what I mean? Like we'll probably see Shavkat get the belt, and we'll probably see Ian get the belt just because it's Ian. Um, you know, the privileged cuck, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's the review of UFC 298. Um, Overall, I think it was a pretty good card. I think the early prelims were not great, but they were a good showcase if you're like more of a hardcore fan. I think the prelims were okay. They were good. They were good. It just really sucks because it's like the best ones were short and then the worst ones were long, you know? Like the ones that should have been short were long and the ones that I just wanted to see more were were short, you know? It is what it is. And then the main card obviously main card was good. It was a good card overall. Not it's probably the yeah, probably the best out of this year because the Canada card sucked ass because every Canadian male fighter is soy. But it is what it is. And yes, I am Canadian, so I can say that every Canadian fighter is soy right now. It is what it is. We don't have a single ranked Canadian because they're all shit. Anyways, but yeah, that's it for UFC 298. Probably be back with another video on something soon. I just work a lot, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, it is what it is. If you like the video and agree with any of my opinions, please like and subscribe.